This is a place.
This is the place?
This is a place. We want to talk about. This is a place. Welcome to this week's episode of This is a Place podcast. My name is Nate.
My name is Brandon.
And happy National Take a Chance Day. If you change your mind, I'm the first in line.
Dude, who listens to ABBA? Come on.
Oh, good heavens, Brandon. Don't open that door. Don't open that door.
No. I like ABBA. I was just teasing.
Okay.
I remember somebody else one time saying that in a social setting we were both a part of, and I thought, this guy.
Was it at basketball?
It was a
The guy
basketball.
we're talking about? Yeah. I was like, good heavens.
Come on, man. ABBA's classic.
Oh, ABBA's top dog.
Take a chance. So what are you going to take a chance on today?
I'm going to take a chance that this episode's going to be amazing.
I agree with you, actually. This is going to be a good one.
It's going to be good. We got a dang good show for you today.
Yeah. I guess without further ado, then let's just jump into it because it is. I've been really excited since you told me about this topic. I've been chomping at the bit to get into it.
I'm just surprised that we didn't know about this. I think that's what kind of
the movie or the actual event.
I would say the movie. The actual event would be tough because I'm sure there's other crazy events like that have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're in Utah. Like when we do crazy, we do crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Florida has they do weird stuff, but like when we go crazy, and we make the news.
Yes. The national news.
Yeah,
you know what? It's cool that we make the Utah news, the local news, but we want to elevate it a little bit. Let's get some more views on our crazy. And that's what we do.
Right. I'm just saying. That's all I'm going to say is. So like when we do a crime, they make movies about it. Let's put it that way, right? When crime goes down in Utah.
Sometimes I guess you could call it movies.
Right. They make shows.
They make something. They make content out of it.
All right.
Before we talk about the movie, I don't know. I'm most excited about the movie. That's the highlight. But I found out about this event, these murders, this true crime stuff. I'm saying all the stuff so we can get the clicks because people like the true crime.
There we go.
When I first found out about this was on I think it was just a reel, an Instagram reel. And it talked about just this, crazy event where this family, a couple of them got killed and these guys had broken out of prison or something. And they ruined their Christmas vacation and all this crazy stuff that happened. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I should look into that someday. And you told me about it. And then I looked more into it and found out, I don't know if you watched it, but I sent you like a Dateline or whatever it was, them talking about what happened. And I guess the mom and the grandma both got killed and they shot the dad. Maybe thought he was dead. And they burned the cabin to the ground. But the dad still made it out. And then they took the girls on snowmobiles, right?
Well, snowmobiles to a car and then took off in a car.
Oh, so they were in a car.
Because the girl said she had to go pee, right? And so they pulled
Right.
over to a gas station, and that's when.
But anyway, just this crazy thing. I mean, maybe I'm not really equipped to go through the whole story, the whole true story about it, but just this crazy event where, and I guess the guys, they didn't technically break out of prison, but they left a halfway house, and I guess
Was that a halfway house?
That's what it said. Yeah, they were just compelled to wreak havoc. I guess.
Crazy.
Yeah, the craziest thing about it, I think, and what I saw accompanied with that original reel was this found footage, I guess, of the criminals in the cabin prior to the family coming back, and they were opening their presents and just kind of being just kind of goofballs, really, which just makes what they did after the fact all the more disturbing because they just were, it was just like they were hanging out, you know? Did you watch that video at all?
The two you sent me, yeah, I watched both of them.
So yeah, they're just opening their presents, commenting on the gifts that they're getting or opening of this family, and they just kind of
Well,
seem nonchalant, you know?
like if you just watch the video with no context, you'd be like, "Oh, somebody's just opening up
Christmas
Christmas
presents.
presents." But they show in the movie, right, with them filming them opening the presents too. Don't they show that in the movie?
Yeah, it's at the end of the movie. But yeah, pretty
Yeah,
disturbing stuff that, they killed their
I
family
was.
and
I know, and I was even debating, like, do we even like talk about this because it definitely not. This is not an episode for children. But then you brought it up, true crime. This is what they talk about in true crime podcast, right? It's
right.
murders and mysteries. So
And like
we'll definitely
maybe
keep it PG.
yeah, but I think we need to, maybe one of these days we dig a little more into our true crime side of things. We can get some, spooky ethereal music in the background and talk about that stuff. But
Some cold cases.
I do want to say just, this podcast, it's hard for us to do true crime and stuff because we kind of like to make jokes. We kind of like to have fun. And I feel like with true crime it's kind of it's touchy subjects, not something you really want to
It
joke
can be
about.
right.
So
Could be
the
considered
joking,
rude.
yeah, the joking we're doing today, which we'll inevitably be doing, is not making fun of the actual case that happened because I feel like what happened and what was presented in the movie are vastly different. They are completely different things that happened.
Well,
Because
it's yeah, because like, let's say they released this movie, could the family have sued saying you're basing it off of our life
our
events?
yeah, our tragedy.
So like it's kind of like how movies nowadays, like, this, they say based on a true story, but it's really kind of the concept is based on true story, but it's not even close to what actually happened.
Hmm.
And that one would fit this category because that's what's frustrating. I don't know. I don't even know where to begin, Brandon. I don't even know where to begin because I guess we'll just say it from the beginning. Is I was more intrigued by the 10-minute Dateline or something you sent me. Their story, them just retelling the story,
Yeah.
is so much better than the movie. In the movie, they
Yes.
had time to figure things out, and if you looked up on the internet, it says it cost them $1 million to make this movie. Napoleon Dynamite was made for 400 grand and was much better movie than this.
Yes.
I almost, you wonder, I wonder how much involvement the girls had, the family, in helping them write the story, but you wouldn't think they had very much involvement at all with how, and I don't know why they thought their story would
Their
was
version.
better than the original.
Yeah. I mean, the original that they told, yeah, like you said, it was entertaining enough. Like, okay, entertaining. It was compelling enough, right?
It keeps your interest. The story,
Yeah,
them telling the story, you're like, yeah,
right.
yeah,
I'm like,
totally.
yeah, that's still pretty crazy. And they had to go Hollywood it up and made it
Oh man, it
infinitely,
definitely wasn't
infinitely
Hollywood. That
worse.
definitely, that wasn't Hollywood. What's the Chinese knockoff version of Hollywood?
They made it their Timu version of.
Oh yeah, Timu. There you go. They made, yeah, Timu version. It was it was awful. So I don't know. Again, I
And I
just don't know
think
where to begin.
I tried to find something, the sisters or somebody commenting on the movie. I couldn't track that down. There's got to be something out there. I'll keep looking, even if we provide an update later. But I will say one of the girls' names was changed in the movie compared to real life.
Really?
One of them was the same, but one of them was changed. So I think that tells me they didn't have the full blessing of the family or at least the full blessing of the individuals involved.
That could be it. And maybe the family didn't want it made, so they're like, "Hey, we'll make it close enough." But again, I was so how this came to be is every once in a while I'm like, "Hey, I don't know what I want to watch a movie or something," or so I go to the on demand on my Xfinity account and just browse newy or recently added movies and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So I was kind of browsing through, and then I saw the Utah Cabin Murders. Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Utah Cabin Murders, and I'm like, oh, so I thought it was, and then I'm like, oh, this was made
like
in
a documentary or something.
2019. Not a documentary, but maybe somebody tried to just make a horror film and have us
Mm.
have Utah in the title. So when I like Googled it, and I'm like, oh, this is based off a true story. And then when I saw that it had what 7 or 8% on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm like, okay, this has got to be. I'm like, Brandon, we've got to do this because that's a sign for entertainment.
Yes.
But yeah, it definitely lived up to the hype of the 7% or 8% it has on Rotten Tomatoes.
So you commented a good chunk of our episode could be reading through these reviews. Did you find any that really stuck out and captivated you?
The one that I just remember because I haven't looked since I watched the movie was that somebody said that the family should be pretty upset about this movie. Like it's like almost like disrespectful that they didn't do their story justice.
Yeah, someone said gave it a half star, which is probably the lowest you can give it. Because if I could give this 0 stars, I would. This movie was a joke and mockery to the family. It is based on. Me and my cousin watched it together, and not a single person watched the movie without making a joke or laughing.
There you go. Yep, I remember that one. And it's true. Like it's I was watching it. I made my wife watch it because I started watching the first 5 minutes and like, yeah, this is definitely going to be bad. So I made my wife watch it. My daughter was watching a little bit of it too. And you're right. Like this is based off a true story, and it's not a lighthearted story, but you cannot watch the movie without cracking a joke or two about the storyline that they and
The
the acting.
acting, everything. Another
So,
commenter said, if Hallmark made horror, but I think that Hallmark could still do a better job, much better job than this movie.
oh yeah, it really could be if there's those true crime shows like they could have done a better job in just the 45-minute episode. It was rough. Here's my complaints about the movie. Maybe that's trigger some stuff besides the reviews. Number one, it's in Oakley, Utah, which is up above the foothills. Like elevation's higher than it is in Salt Lake Valley. So if they're shopping on Christmas Eve, there's a pretty good chance that there's going to be snow.
Mm-hmm.
No snow. Even the girls talk about how, and a lot of those cabins up in Oakley, I've been to a few in my day. They, you have to snowmobile in to the cabin in the winter because there's so much snow and the roads are, they just don't plow them. And the girls say that they had a snowmobile into the cabin. So there's zero snow. It looks like it's
Summer.
early
It
fall.
probably
Early fall.
was. That's probably when they
It
filmed it.
probably was. No, they. Do you know where they filmed it? I
Mm-mm.
think they filmed it in London or something like that.
Oh, I thought
So
it
it
was
wasn't
actually
even
filmed
here.
here.
Mm-mm. No, no, because you can see like even my daughter's like, "That's Utah," and I'm like, "No, that's not Utah."
I didn't pay
I'm
close enough
pretty sure.
attention to pick up on that, but I'm not surprised that it was not filmed here, and especially with the lack of snow around Christmas Eve.
Let's see if I can pull it up.
The director was from Wales. He
Oh,
sadly,
sorry. It does say it was primarily filmed in Oakley, Utah, USA, and Wales, UK.
so some of it filmed in Wales, maybe like the inside cabin shots. But the
Oh,
director is from Wales. He passed away, I think, in 2023, but that's where he was from.
and that was a funny thing I brought up. My comment in the two sheriffs,
The
deputies,
sheriff and the deputy.
sheriff and the deputy. they were talking about their worst stories, right?
The one that got
In their
away.
office. And so this, I think this took place in 1990. So the younger deputy was talking about like it was like 1983 or something when his bad story happened, and that's why he transferred to Oakley. The other guy's like, oh, it was like 1961 or something. And I'm like, okay, so you've at least been in Oakley for 30 years, but yet you have this thick foreign accent. Did you notice his accent? Which he was probably from Wales, right? So it wasn't really
Hmm.
super thick, but he definitely had
He was trying to do an English or an American accent
yeah, but he still kind of
very
had the
poorly.
yeah. So I'm like, that's interesting. So that was one of the funny comments
It
that we
felt like
made.
everybody in this movie, and I don't think it was the case, but it felt like everybody had English as their second language because of how poorly they delivered all their lines, or they just talked weird. The dialogue was just so weird. My buddy from work, I told him about this movie, and he watched it too, and he said it felt like they had the timing off on the audio, like it was almost like it was dubbed over. It just felt weird, the whole delivery of the lines.
Huh. Yeah.
Like even at the
Yeah.
beginning, like the first scene, they're watching the news and the dad is like, they're like, can we watch something else? This is so depressing. And he just like he like stumbles over his lines and he can't even get the words out to say, well, no, it's the news. We're gonna watch it. I'm like, what the heck? Like just from the first scene, it set things up that it was gonna be a very poor dialogue movie. And I think most of the actors spoke English, like it was their probably their first language, but it just felt also forced. Like even when, you know, the murderers come in and they when they swear, it feels so unnatural. Like
Right.
their swearing was so forced. Like you get in the effing car, you get in the like it just felt like they were trying so hard to deliver their lines. It just felt weird.
Yeah. Overacting.
And too much language too. Like it was just like
Right.
didn't fit.
Right. Like, was that really, yeah, necessary?
But
So it was rough. It was rough.
this movie,
The
though, if nothing else, delivered on one-liners, man. A couple. I just took some notes as I was watching. I thought it was funny that, and a spoiler alert, this does set up for a future scene. But one of the girls gives her sister a pen for Christmas, and she acted like this pen was the greatest Christmas gift she had ever received.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, she gives her, so they're like in the room and she gives her a pen. She's like, oh, sorry, all I got you was socks. And I'm like, it's a pen. Like, what's so cool about a pen? She's like, I know you're just such a great writer. So it's like, okay, you give someone a pen because they like to write. I mean, that's fine. It was just super weird. But it does set up for she used the pen for, I guess, helping them get out of the situation they're in later in the movie. But I'm like, that was weird.
That's I don't know that too. Yeah. When she, can we ruin it?
Yeah, I mean,
When
it's
she
it's
stabs him
ruined.
with when she stabs him with the pen, I'm like, really? Like that? I don't know.
And also
That would probably hurt. I'd be like, what the heck? But like if I was
a
in that
com-
situation, and I don't think that would stop me from whatever. But
yeah,
I thought for sure she was gonna stab him in the neck or something. That'd be a
the
little bit more
jugular.
intense than just stabbing somebody in the back with a pen. But oh well.
Yeah.
What do I know? I never been stabbed with a pen, so I don't know. I can't
Well,
say.
we're gonna have to test it, find out.
Yeah, you stab me in the back with a pen and see if I still don't turn around and smack you or something.
So that was weird. There's these really random conversations throughout the movie. So the dad, for some reason, has to talk about his disdain for George Bush. Like, and it went on too long when they were watching the news. There's a conversation between one of the mom and one of the daughters about, or was it the grandma and her daughter, but they talk about religion and how ridiculous religion is. And it really did nothing to, there was like no callback to that. It didn't really have much meaning that they had that conversation. And then when they interviewed that guy who had all the stuff stolen from his shop, dude, it was so funny. And he like tries to talk politics. He said they took some coats, probably needed them, scruffy little bastards. It's like, what the heck does that even mean, dude?
I didn't think I needed cameras till now.
You know who I blame? All that heavy metal polluting the minds of our children, encouraging devil worship. It's just like, dude, what is going on? It was just the weirdest things. And then the conversations between the sheriff and the deputy were like so long. Like it was trying to like build the plot and like make them the heroes, I guess, so they could, get their revenge or whatever for the ones they missed out on. And then at one point, the sheriff's like, look, he's just talking. He's like, there will always be a chance to make it right. And then he takes this really, really long pause, looks at a picture of his family, and then says, and find redemption. Like it was probably 10 seconds of him just paused as he's looking at this picture and contemplating what he's going to say next. It's just, it was so bad. The grandma, when they get there, the grandma does not want to give them her purse because it was her hard-earned money. And
I'm like, why?
and they're like, give me
Yeah.
the purse or I'm gonna shoot you. And she gives them the purse and they shoot her anyway. But then they open the purse and she had like $3 or something. They're like, that was her hard-earned money. Like there was no reason for her to fight over that. And I guess she would have been killed anyway, but it was just awkward. But really, what made them kill her was she told them that she felt sorry for their mothers. I feel for your mothers. And then one of the criminals really got hung up on that. And that was the tipping point for him. He had to kill this lady because of what she said.
You don't talk about my mother. What?
Oh, and then he
What
makes her
else
say the
was-
prayer.
Oh yeah, finish the prayer. Isn't that on Spider-Man?
Oh, yeah, it kind of is.
That's what I felt like. Some of the
Finish
I
it.
felt like they were trying to do a little, yeah. Some of the they reminded me of that a little. Sometimes a little bit of like the Joker from Batman. I'm like, are they really trying to?
The whole
But they
because they're
only
wearing clown masks.
so they did mention the Mormons once. Did you already say that?
No, I didn't.
Something about
Two
did he
little
say
white
that? Something about
chicks up here in Mormon country.
in Mormon country or something like that?
Yeah,
Because they needed a hostage or
right.
something. But I thought that was interesting. Like that was the only reference to
The
kind of the
church.
culture. Yeah, the church of culture here
Mm-hmm.
in Utah. No snow. And then I think maybe the cabin, I guess, was. Well, I don't know if they used any. It makes no sense because some of the scenery, I swear, it wasn't Oakley, Utah, but maybe it was. And
We were so focused on the riveting plot.
that we weren't paying close attention. Just a lot of good times.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, I can't find anywhere. It just says in the real life story, but then again, I haven't done a whole lot of research that the dad was shot.
Yeah.
It doesn't say where he was shot because in the film he gets shot in the head.
Sure does.
How is he still alive?
Yeah. That's the big plot twist. The dad's shot in the head. So he comes, finds his wife and her mom dead. He has a little flashback with his wife when they're watching news together at the beginning of the movie.
Oh my gosh, the flashbacks were so awful.
I know. Because I'm like,
Oh, they were so bad.
that was just the same scene we watched, and it showed the same flashback twice. It did it 2 times in the movie. That it flashed back to that scene where she's just like, ah, or when they're watching
The flashbacks were
the news
bad, too.
together, and he's laughing about not wanting to watch the news. But they shoot him in the head, and he's laying there in a pool of blood on the ground, and they take the girls up, and then he comes back to life, calls the cops. Well, there was his brother came to the cabin and said things were suspicious. That wasn't enough for them to go, but it took him calling. Like, what was the purpose of that? They had to introduce that there was a brother and that he found out the cabin was something weird was going on. But him going and telling the cops did nothing. It was the dad calling to say that his daughters were being held hostage that finally got them to go to the cabin and check it out.
Which is, again, crazy because for the uncle to get back to his car, drive to the sheriff's station, and the sheriffs don't like just rush out of there, kind of like, we'll go check it out, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, dad's shot in the head and he's still surviving all this time. But they make it sound like it was like 10 minutes from the uncle leaving the cabin to when the sheriff showed up, which there's no way.
Right.
Anyways, stuff like that. It was just poorly produced. Sorry, whoever produced this movie. North Bank Entertainment's Facebook page back in October 20th, 2018 says filming has wrapped for our 24th feature film, The Utah Cabin Murders. So they've done this 24 times, and this is.
They haven't learned.
So there's 23 other movies we can watch
We need
that
to
are
watch.
probably just as good.
We need to watch all of them. And this is probably a better product than those previous ones. They probably got better.
Yeah. You would hope.
We'll have to look into it. Ultimately, the way it ends, so the daughter stabs the guy. The cops they meet the other guy outside because he went outside to get some gasoline because they were going to set the cabin on fire, which actually did happen in real life, but they didn't get to do in the movie because that was probably not within the budget. So he goes out to get the gasoline, and while doing that, the cops come and they arrest him. And then that's when the other guy gets stabbed, and then they come in and arrest the guy right before one of the daughters she gets a gun and she's gonna shoot him either in the head or somewhere possibly more painful. And yeah, they arrest him, and then we get this.
But it is nice going into a movie knowing it's going to be bad. It's kind of fun sometimes.
Yeah,
It was so bad, it was worth watching. Let's put it that way.
it's kind of like Troll 2. Like, it's going to be a terrible movie, so you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Different perspective.
Which I kind of put this one on that level, except that technology's come a long way since they made Trolls 2.
Mm-hmm.
So like everything wasn't as bad as Trolls 2, and they didn't need to have monsters. So there's all they really needed a budget for was the clown mask or whatever they were wearing.
Yeah.
And even we never talked about the beginning scene. The girl driving, and then she gets out of the car.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh,
what happened
okay.
with that?
Number one, who was she? Anyways,
nobody. They never expound on it. They never say anything else about it.
It's just like they hit some girl in the head with the baseball bat, and then
I think
was she at the cop station next? Is that what?
I thought she died.
Did she even go to? Did she die? I don't think she did. I swear she's talking to somebody after they show that she's still alive. But all I know is
I totally forgot about that.
If I'm driving down a dirt road and some guy is standing in the middle of the road with the clown, like a evil looking clown mask on and holding a bat, I'm running his backside over. I'm not stopping. That guy doesn't need help.
No.
And then number two, she didn't lock her doors to the car so they could open the door, and then she just gets out of the car. I'm like, okay. I don't know. I've never been in that situation, so I can't tell you how I would react, but I'm pretty
I don't think that part was true. That had no basis in
no.
Didn't happen. It was
but
just
I'm saying that's like how
set it up to say they were aware that something sinister was happening because they'd found this girl or something had happened to this girl. And in the movie, they said they'd escaped from prison. They'd been in prison for a long time, and this was them escaping and getting out. And so they're like, "Oh yeah, there's two escaped convicts on the loose, and they're here in Oakley." Again, it goes back to Nate. I know that it takes a lot to make a movie, but I still think we could put out a better product than what this movie was.
I know with the technology in our iPhones, that's all we need is iPhones and a filming location, and we could duplicate this movie.
We could
We could remake a movie.
we could redo the movie, make it the right way.
Yeah, just yeah.
Is
I mean,
anybody, do you
kind of
know
what they're
anybody in
doing.
Oakley that has a cabin we can burn down?
I sure do.
Oh, perfect.
I don't think he wants to burn it down, but if we could
I,
use it,
we can
then
well
we
do it
could
because he
use
hates
the app.
ABBA.
He hates ABBA. There we go. I was gonna say it's kind of interesting how you brought up the person not like an ABBA, but he's the one that has a cabin in Oakley.
I know it.
So, and same thing. He has to. I'm pretty sure they have to snowmobile in, or at least walk in when they
This
go to their
movie
cabin.
so bad they couldn't even afford to do it with snow or with snowmobiles. They had to completely rewrite the movie. Those killers in the movie, they hung out at that cabin for a long time. Like if you were doing all these murders and stuff, I'd want to get out of there pretty quick. But they were just taking their sweet time.
I was gonna say the one guy who shot the three, killed two. He's on death row,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one got life in prison, but keeps it. I think they both keep appealing their cases, but
Yeah, they're not getting out anytime soon.
oh, here's someone who says, and it brings up a point to me. I thought this movie would never end. Nothing ever happens without a super long, boring speech from a very stupid script by totally uninteresting characters, just plain boring. But I will say this: it's only like 80 minutes long, so that was nice.
Yeah,
That
it
it
was
was
a
a
pretty quick
shorter
movie.
movie. So it's not. It's like yeah, it's just like an extended TV show movie. So I don't feel like it dragged on too much. It was just poorly put together, poorly produced, poorly scripted, poorly written, poorly acted,
There was
and they
nothing
spent a million
redeeming about
bucks.
this movie except how bad it
And
was.
unfortunate for the girl. Like I said, I would love to find something where the girls say if they approved the movie or not.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be interesting to know. So if anybody knows the girls, but I think they're from. Are they
Texas.
from Texas?
Yeah.
So this is kind of like the family cabin type deal.
Yes. So I guess we can recommend the movie in the sense that you'll have a good time laughing if you watch it at the ridiculousness of it. It's free on Prime. So if you have Prime, it's not going to cost you anything. Somebody on one of the sites said it was the worst dollar they ever spent. So I wouldn't advocate spending $1 on this movie, but if you have Prime, you can give it a watch.
And I bet too, if it's not on Prime, it's got to be on one of the free platforms. I just don't see, yeah, it ever being worth renting.
No, I don't think so.
But like I said, very surprised this movie came out 6 years ago,
I
and we've
never heard
never heard
about
of
it.
it.
They couldn't even get one other thing I forgot to mention. So the movie, they make the arrests, kind of ends. It shows like words across the screen, like what happened after the fact, and then it shows the footage of them opening the presents, which did not match at all the original found footage. Like they could have at least just copied that and made it the same thing, or even just shown the original footage to show like this was a real thing, like to give credibility to the story, which they didn't do. They just had them make up their own dialogue, or they wrote different dialogue for it. So it shows that, and then it shows the daughters going back to the house and kind of returning after the 10-year anniversary of the murders. A terribly made movie all around. And for that, it was a good laugh and a good time.
Okay. So AI says the film Utah Cabin Murders, based on the real life 1990 cabin murders, was not filmed in Oakley, Utah. So it says it was all filmed in the West. So that makes more sense to me because I'm like, so who knows where the truth lies? But yeah, everything besides the cabin, even the cabin, because you could tell the outlets were real outlets, but you'd have to be paying attention to that.
Oh,
well, not real outlets. They weren't American. But yeah.
Well, I'm always curious. Like AI comes up with some. I'm gonna look and see if I can just dig a little bit deeper, because the filming locations on IMDb do list both.
Well, it doesn't say where. It just says both. But I wonder if somebody just put because they knew it was in Oakley. But I was just gonna say, like, I swear, like when they did like their panoramic shots, I'm like, that's not Utah.
Yeah.
But then I could be wrong.
So let us know what other true crime stories we need to talk about, or even better, true crime stories turned into F movies. We'd love to talk about them and share them with you.
Well, another holiday that was today, I think, was National Movie Theater Day or something like that.
Okay.
But this doesn't really count. So
this movie definitely did not make it to theaters.
We need more movies to watch.
Yes, always give us more recommendations. We'll do more true crime. Until then, thanks for listening to the This Is a Place podcast.
And this was a movie we just talked about.